Do you know what beef is? Do you know what beef is? Ask yourself. Do you know what beef is?
Check out this bizarre rapper.
Good evening, America, and welcome to New November Presents Look1X. Time for the one-time tongue in the butt, all wild, all crazy. It is your host, Izzy Baby. And today, after, 20 years, 20 years, the classic beef of Nas and Jay-Z may have been renewed. Now, I might be reading a little too much into this, but personally, I believe that Jay-Z did some slick shit on purpose to derail the comeback of the great god Nas's album, King Disease. Now, this is why I say this. Nas teases he's going to drop an album, King Disease, right? He also drops the song Ultra Black, the single. That shit's fire. Go check that shit out. If you haven't heard Ultra Black, go check that shit out. If you hear it in the right context, then that shit is fire. When I say that, I mean, fuck all that Doja Cat shit. That shit don't got nothing to do with that song. That song is way bigger than that one line. Go listen to that shit. Anyway, Jay-Z then announces that he's just going to drop a new single, Entrepreneur, that same day, right? Now, Entrepreneur, also a fire-ass song with Pharrell, doing what Pharrell does. You know what I mean? That Neptune shit. That shit is a automatic classic. That shit's going in that's in the 444 vault. Like, if you want some knowledge, Jay's dropping straight gems, and the video is also fire. Go check that shit out as well. But the main thing is, only in 2020 can you get Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones and Jay-Z versus Nas. This is the future. Welcome to the motherfucking future, right? So obviously these two guys are not Tyson and Jones, but obviously Jay and Nas have not buried the hatchet. You know, the beef started way back in 1996. And if you ask me, Nas won the shit. Nas won the shit because we don't go walking around saying, "Oh man, you super ugly, that nigga, son." Like, that's not how it goes. You ether a nigga when you bite his head off. When you kill a nigga in a battle, you ether a nigga. You know what I mean? You don't super ugly a nigga. So for that reason alone, I believe, you know what I mean? I believe you motherfucking just won. I mean, if you disagree, I know there's a lot of Hov fans. Shit, I'm a Hov fan. You know what I mean? I can name more Hov songs than I can Nas, but I know battle rap. That shit was a body. All right? Nas got it. So after 23 years, you would think Jay would be over it, right? You would think the Jigga Man would just be like, "Yeah, let me let this nigga have his day. I'm the president of my own shit. You know, my Rock Nation shit. I could drop this any day. You know what I mean? I'll let him have this day. I'll drop it the next day, or I'll drop it before." Right? But that brings me to the topic of today's talk, for real. And that's what's beef. Now, you can lose to a nigga. You can go up against a nigga, fight him, hate him, lose a fight to him, and still be cool the next day. That is what we call beefing. That's when you're beefing with a nigga. It's like, man, yeah, we beefing, but, you know, that could be your brother. You beefing, you having a disagreement, an argument. Maybe you even got to step outside with a nigga, you know. But beef, I'm talking about true hate. I'm talking about, if I could have caught you when, there might not be a now. You know what I mean? I'm talking real live enemy shit. These niggas, after 23 years, still refuse to stand in the same picture, stand in the same vicinity as one another, from the same state. And that's because these niggas were not beefing. This here was actual beef. And I believe that at one point in time, in Jay's life and in Nas's life, in their young career, this shit could have all went left. Easy. It really could have been some Tupac Big shit. Just all on the same coast. Cause that's what it is when you really got beef with a nigga. You know what I mean? When you're beyond beefing with a nigga, and it's like, no. You know, people be like, "Oh, you wouldn't say that if he really died though." But if he really died, no. When you actually got beef with a nigga, it's like, no, if he really died, I go make sure he was really dead. I would go check. Let me look in the casket. No, open this bitch up. Let me see his face. That's beef. You know, as the old song goes, when you make your enemy start the Jeep, when you need 2 gas to go to sleep, right? That shit ain't no nursery rhyme. That is the truth. Honest, unforgiving enemies that really want your head. There is no, yeah, you had the better song than me, or yeah, you did better than me in this, or yeah, we could bury the hatchet maybe 23 years after our kids are grown. No, fuck that. You should never had kids. I'm talking about that kind of beef. Today you have a lot of rah-rah internet, he say, she say shit. Hold on, let me light my shit. A lot of rah-rah internet, he say, she say shit. Everybody want to go back and forth on Twitter. Everybody want to go back and forth, post shit online. When back in the day, there was none of that, and I doubt they would want to do any of it. It was, if I got enough money to get some niggas and some masks and some guns to come see what this nigga is talking about from the other side of town, then that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. There was none of this extra social media bullshit that niggas feel the absolute need to do. Absolute need to do the most. There was none of that shit. There was when I see you, it was it. That was it. Guaranteed to be alright. Yes. Definitely. Just like the song say. Because nobody had time for that shit. Niggas was really trying to kill niggas. Nobody had time for that back in the day. It was like, all right, I'm trying to get on my hustle. You trying to stop my hustle. Niggas got to get the fuck up out of here. It was different time. It was different rules. That's why certain niggas could never survive back then. 6ix9ines of the world, they could never have survived back then. Niggas would have been food, as my New York homies say. Niggas would have been straight food. For real. But, in conclusion, I really hope these brothers eventually straighten this shit out. But again, it seems to me like they have actual beef, and they're not just beefing. Because Jay, that was some sucker ass shit. You could have let that man have his day. You got every other day. Nigga, they damn near about to name a holiday after you. You got the NFL, you got the NBA, you about to probably get the NHL, you got Rock Nation. Just let the man have his day. You had the more successful career. But that nigga bodied you. Just let the 23-year-old body lay. Anyway, that's all I care to say, man. Thanks for listening.
Life after.
Now ask yourself, do you really know what beef is?
Life after.
Then ask yourself, do you really
Life after.